You're listening to the world-famous Butch and Bob Show right here on WIFO 105.5 FM in Jessup. And, Bob, how you doing?
Doing good.
Doing good?
Yep.
Have a good weekend?
Great weekend.
Great weekend. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. And we've got a special guest in here. You want to introduce our guest and talk about the subject today, what we're going to be talking about?
Yeah, we're blessed to have Jack Lee in the studio. Again, pastor of Baltimore Baptist Church for the last 25 years. Recently announced his retirement. He's going to go to July 25th. Been a good friend for many years, and just thought we'd get him in there and talk about his career as a pastor in 25 years. Jack, how you doing? Good to see you.
I'm doing great. I thank y'all for having me, and my wife, Lynn, is with me today, and we appreciate her support. Y'all have had an impact on my ministry personally and the church over the years, so I thank y'all for letting me come and be a part of this today.
Well, again, how was it announcing that retirement? How do you make that decision?
It was very tough. The difficult thing about announcing your retirement is, well, our church is still growing. People are being saved and joining. And in the midst of all that good things, I'm going to stand up and announce that I'm retiring. Matter of fact, we baptized 6 people Sunday morning.
Wow.
And then we had people joining during the invitation, and I tapped our youth minister who's down front and said, "This is a good day to retire, I guess." But anyway, it was tough, and it was emotional, Sure and it actually, and I may have texted wrong, but I've been there 20 years.
Okay. 20 years?
20 years.
And you were at Memorial Baptist before that, right?
Yes. So I've pastored for 37 years, and then before that preached some. So I've been in the ministry for 39.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're going to the 25th of July. That'll be
my last service as pastoring. Now, which means retiring from pastoring means I won't pastor a church anymore, but I will preach here and there, invitation or whatever if I'm asked.
So you'll be a guest pastor at different churches,
right?
For you to come in, just want you to come in,
or fill in or something, if they're on vacation or something. But I am retiring, so and my wife's sitting here by me. She might punch me, but I'm not going to get filled up with a bunch of Sundays. We're going to enjoy fishing and going to the mountains and things like that.
Get out there and have some fun.
Exactly.
You don't get much Sundays off when you're a pastor, do you?
No, you don't.
Pastor Jack Lee in here this morning, pastor of Omaha Baptist Church. Bob?
I make that joke all the time. My coffee group, they're all retired. They tell me retirement is the best job you ever had. So I'm sure you're looking forward to it. Like I said, your wife's here. So you plan to do some traveling? Yeah,
we've got a 2-week vacation planned to the mountains right after my last service, so we're going to be going there. And then my wife's family has a place on the coast, and so we'll be down at the coast some fishing. So, that's a part of what we plan to have as a retirement.
Well, that's a good place to go. The mountains, you'll be right in the middle of dog days of summer, so you'll be a little cooler up there, and you went down.
Exactly.
Everybody's followed your health thing, so I just ask you how you feeling and how's everything going that
way? I'm feeling fairly well. I mean, stage 4 cancer is what it is. It's something that just stays there with you. And I had a new occurrence of cancer in my lungs, and so I'm back on IV chemo, and with that kind of diagnosis of a limited time of life, makes you think about what you need to be doing in your last years that you're going to be around. And who knows, they give you numbers, but only the good Lord knows how long you'll be on this place, and any of us could leave, so that had a bearing on the fact of making that choice for retirement. So it's one of those things we deal with. I tell people that God wrote my story, and I'm going to move forward.
When you look back on your career, what stands out? I'm sure the people stand out. You meet a lot.
Well,
I was going to ask you. I don't know who Mrs. Carabeth more, you or me. So.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Miss Carabeth was my prayer partner. I mean, she'd call all the time, and say, "I'm praying for you," or she'd give me the latest news on Bob, and pray for Bob or whatever. But anyway, she was special. But my faith in Christ, I got saved when I was 16 years old and asked Jesus in my heart, and I never knew the life that He would give me. And I went from building houses to preaching, and so it's just been a great journey. And the people, here's the church, here's the steeple, open the door, and there's the people. And that's what makes my ministry, is all those wonderful people that have surrounded me and encouraged me and been there for me.
All right, somebody just text in at 912-427-3711. You can always send text messages in at 912-427-3711. Someone just texted in and said, "You'll enjoy retirement. You won't have to get up so early."
That's true. Well, the joke is I only worked on Sunday and Wednesdays anyway. So why do I need to retire?
Right. Yeah, if you really know the life of a pastor, there's really no off time.
If people are texting in, no telling what's going to come in. So anyway, there have been some jokes over my life of the ministry, and it's been a lot of fun.
Well, the church really grew. Over the
years
as well.
Did. I call it the miracle at Madrid Springs. And when I went there, they had a motto: "We'll do whatever it takes." And they did. We were moving senior adult classes around. There was a great unity. One thing that stood out to me was that when we voted on things, in church for certain ways, we had some opposition to some things, but once the vote was over, the opposition joined in with those that were for it, and we just went ahead. There was no trying to do any background, help people get through the situation because they're mad. Everybody just joined together and kept on going.
You look at the church out there, when you went there 20 years ago, it was a lot smaller, and that y'all just tremendously have added on through the years to Omaha Baptist Church. Right, Jack?
Yes. I tell you, this is crazy what I'm about to say. One of the things is they got tired of cutting pine trees down, and it was the front of the church was azalea beds and pine trees, and you parked around them. Well, they cut all the pine trees down and paved it with concrete, and they may have not realized this, but that was one of the greatest things they could have done, because if you can't park them, you can't get them in church. And so, that's true. And then one day I was up at the pulpit area and looking back, and there were people coming in, and we were packed, and they were walking out the door and leaving. And so I just said, "Lord, what we need to do?" And I prayed about it, and the Lord just said, "Go to 2 services," which actually I've kept this paper since then.
Wow.
And we voted to go 2 services, Country Church, Madrid Springs, and the vote was 78-15. 15 didn't want to do it. And we started 2 services January 9th, 2005. And that was one of the biggest things that we did that helped grow, because we could get more people in. It was more work on the staff, and preach 2 sermons and then Sunday night. But that was a big step for our church to do that.
Well, a lot of people like those early services at churches, because they can go to church, do the worship time, and then get other things done during the day on Sunday.
Right. Exactly. So it worked out. It was a convenience, but then it was also a necessity. Because if we'd have never done that, we'd probably never have grown, because once you reach 80% capacity, you're full.
Yeah, and then tell us the year that y'all did your remodeling. What year was that?
We
made it a lot bigger.
Yeah, we built the fellowship hall in 2004, and then we went to the new worship center in 2008.
2008, okay.
Yes, and which that was a big deal for us for that new worship center. We actually had some problems with the contractor. The building cost us a lot more than what we could imagine.
Wow.
And really, at the point in which we realized what was going on, I could have lost my job because of the amount of money that we were going to spend to get in there. And then, but the heart of the people was they rallied around, and we actually had revival. We were doing 2 services in the fellowship hall, and we brought in a cow trough, and we're baptizing people in that cow trough in front of the fellowship center. And we baptized 50 people while we were there. And, the people just rallied around and supported the building committee and the staff, and thank the Lord, we moved forward.
All right, someone just texted in. Brother Jack is the hardest working and most devoted pastor I've ever known. Praying for this wonderful man of God.
Well, I appreciate that. Hey, I've had a lot of great comments over the last few days, and it's just amazing. But now I will say this, and Brad Waters, we had a celebration at Lake Grace yesterday afternoon, and Brad Waters, my good friend who's First Baptist Hazelhurst pastor, had some good comments. And when he got through, I just said, "I am what I am by the grace of God," and that's what Paul said in the Scriptures. So I give the Lord credit for all those things. And, when you just take time to talk to people and listen to people and care, God will do a lot of things and bless a lot of things in your life.
If you just joined us, Pastor Jack Lee in the studio with us. Curious, we just recently went through the pandemic. Tell us how your church dealt with that, and did people stay at home, or how did you reach out to your congregation at that time?
Well, we did like most churches. We went live stream, and we did some different things. We had 2 drive-up situations where people would drive up if they wanted literature or they want to give us prayer requests. They could drive up, stick out the window, we'd get it, and we'd contact you with that. We never did the parking lot worship, but we did do live stream, and then we made a big effort to stay in touch with our senior adults and minister unto them, and we had a great group of people that did that. Now, here's the joke among my staff: when I say we, that means you and not me. Because when I say we, I may have maybe steered it in a direction, but a lot of people did the work. There's no way I could have done any of all that by myself. So, that's what the word we is. But we went to live stream and went through all the technical nightmares that brings on. But right now, other than we're not doing Sunday nights, we're probably 85 to 90% back to what we used to be.
Okay, someone just texted in. It says, me and my wife wanted to wish Brother Jack a wonderful retirement and that he married me and my wife 20 years ago at Memorial Baptist Church.
How about that? Yeah. There's a lot of people come to me and say, I'm married, and then I have to let my wheels start turning because I'm trying to remember just how when that was. But it have had a lot of influence in doing that. Had baptized the husband and wife Sunday, and I had performed their wedding a year ago. So the Lord just blessed that.
Good. You can text in questions and comments. Text in comments at 912-427-3711. Bob?
I'm just curious. You have a ballpark figure, of all the years, how many baptisms, how many weddings, how many funerals. You have any idea how many?
I have a book that I keep a record. I've been keeping a record of funerals and of weddings. I didn't do baptisms, but I have that in my office. So
you just can't remember right offhand, can you?
No, I can't.
Yeah.
It's
so many years and so many weddings and funerals and baptisms. It's hard to keep up with it all.
It is true, and I did more weddings, it seemed like, earlier in my career, but and the baptisms were, just blessed to do a lot of those, and so after a time, you can kind of lose that number in your head and who and everything. But there's some things that really stand out that you won't ever forget. And certain times when you had a lot of baptisms at one time. We did a baptism. I hadn't been at Autumn Hall very long, and a lady came forward. She wanted to be baptized in the river. So we went down to the river and took the choir with us, and on a Sunday afternoon, and they sang. I hate to confess this, but at the time they sang the song that came out of "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?" Let's go down to the river.
When you said the river, I automatically thought of that movie there. That
so
baptism scene.
While we were going down in the river, and one of the deacons that got in the water with me, they were singing that while she went into the water, and we baptized her. So those things stand out in your mind.
The weather's fine. The water's fine. Come on in.
That's right. Exactly.
I hope this was in the summer.
Yeah, it was. And you know what? When I went to Autumn Hall, it was kind of they were open to a lot of things, and then they also present a lot of things that were just different that you never would think would be involved in a church. So we did a lot of different things and had a lot of good times too.
All right, someone just texted in. You married me and my husband almost 24 years ago. The Richardsons. Yeah,
I know who you're talking about.
Okay.
Hey, the ones that I married and they're still married, that's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Now, I can't be responsible for the ones that are not married right now.
Okay.
If I have to answer for that, please, Lord, forgive me. But anyway.
You just want to pass, like I said, we're blessed to have a good ministerial associate. I know you made a lot of friends over the years. I tell people all the time we're just blessed in one kind to have a lot of good pastors. A lot of good churches,
I have. I've some of my greatest support other than the church family and my personal family is pastor friends, and I try to tell guys we're not in competition. I mean, some guys want to come in and say, they seem to be competing against another church. There's too many people in Wayne County to be competing about who's going to be in church. Just go out and bring them in. And, if everybody in Wayne County went to church, we'd have to build a bunch more. But so it's just been a great camaraderie among pastors in the community. And, actually, I'm Wayne County born. And when the Lord takes me home, I'll be Wayne County dead, I guess. But, I've seen transition and pastors come and go. Some stayed long, some stayed short. But I've always just had an opportunity to get to know them and everything.
Someone just texts in, Omaha Baptist Church has been blessed by Brother Jack.
How about that?
And Brother Jack, okay, someone just texts in, Brother Jack married me and my husband 18 years ago. Be careful about his wedding. He puts things in your vows about obeying.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And that I still haven't done. I love you, Jack, Wendy, and Kim.
Yes. She, that's one of those things in the vows where women in the present day, where he says where you're to love, honor, and obey.
Uh-huh.
Well, they don't like to say the obey because the man's vows does not have obey in it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, the new thing. And so her friends got me to get her to say it not once but twice in her vows. And that's only one of the few times I've ever actually altered my way of doing a wedding because of outside pressure.
Okay.
But anyway. And
one of the things that Omaha Baptist Church has to be proud of, a community event that y'all do every single December, is the live nativity. Tell us how that started and what that means for the community and the church.
I was thinking about that today. One of our staff members, Ryan Wilson, and then Martha Gunther, had a big part in that. We started at the church, with a small version of that, and then we moved out to the, park across from Dairy Queen, and so that has been a big impact for the community and for us. It takes about 200 people to pull it off, and just to remind people of the real meaning of Christmas and everything. And every year it's a little different. We add something to it, and especially with the pandemic, when we did it at J.C. Landon across from the pulp mill, that was just outstanding how that turned out. And I was actually in the middle of some chemo, so that was one of those times where it was you and not me, because I didn't do anything. The team took it and made the adjustments and dealt with the pandemic and just had a great time.
Drive-through event, I went to it. I mean, it turned out really nice. I mean, I was curious how it was going to work as a drive-through, but it really they pulled off very nicely.
Yeah, and I have a picture of the overhead shot from a drone of the traffic of the cars lined up, and it went on down the highway, part of the way down Savannah Highway. So it was a tremendous turnout.
Okay, another text just came in. It says, thank you, Brother Jack, for marrying us 16 years ago, Dustin and Casey. We love you and wish you the best in retirement.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for that. Yeah, and I will say this: some pastors don't like to do weddings, but I did enjoy doing them because you get to meet a couple and do counseling and learn a lot about their families and everything. So I do appreciate those, and it's on the other side of that is doing funerals. I call them homegoings, where people have lived good lives and lived for the Lord, and it's a celebration about them going home. We talk about Miss Carrie Beth and others that have done that, and so that's the other part of the ministry that maybe a lot of people don't talk about. And you won't have any texts coming in from anybody I did a funeral for telling how they enjoyed it. So I'll go ahead and tell you that.
People may be curious how you got into the ministry. Tell us about growing up. Where'd you get the calling from to decide you were going to become a minister?
Well, Lynn's father was a deacon at a Baptist church at Little Creek outside Gardai. So if I was going to date her, I was going to have to go to church. Long story short, I got saved and then started working in the church and doing several things, teaching Sunday school. But there just wasn't really a peace about what I was doing, and I was speaking and got more into the Word and energized about sharing the gospel. And people kind of encouraged me, and I was praying, and I felt God calling me to the ministry. I don't know how much time we got. Real quick, we
got 7 more minutes.
Okay, I was preaching at Satilla Baptist in Hortense, Super Bowl Sunday, 1982, and I had to make my mind up. I said either I'm going to go in or go out, because I just was struggling with that, and so I wouldn't recommend this to a lot of people. But anyway, I just said, Lord, if you want me to be a pastor and preach, I want somebody saved in the service at Hortense, which, I was a guest speaker. I was just filling in for the preacher that was gone. Anyway, long story short, I preached the message, and, Baptist way of doing things is you give the invitation, you sing 2 verses, you say something, you sing another verse, and you call it a day. Well, they sang 2 verses, and I said something, and then they started on the 3rd verse, and I bowed my head and said, well, Lord, I guess you don't want me to preach. Nobody's been saved. And a little child came up, and I was still behind the pulpit, came up and pulled on my pants leg and said, I want to be saved. And the rest is history.
Okay, I got some text that have come in here. It says, a happy retirement. We serve an awesome God. And then the next text is, can't let this time go by without reminding Jack his historical Lee family is the beginning of Jessup. He's more than just a Wayne County born. We will continue to pray for him and his family. So, one of your Lees were one of the first settlers here in Wayne County many moons ago?
Well, that's true. There's a lot of history there, and I almost can guess who put that on there. But my dad was, much into genealogy and all that was involved in that. So, actually, my grandfather, I think, was either sheriff or was the city police chief or something eons ago.
Okay, another text here says, Brother Jack was able to give my dad his Purple Heart in his 80s. What a memory from the Elton Dent family.
That was a special time for me to present Mr. Elton with his Purple Heart, which somehow got lost in the the time of World War II and all that. So it was a great time. He was part of that great generation.
Great generation.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's one that you're really going to enjoy, Jack. Jack is a master chaos coordinator.
Yeah, that's
if you knew his staff, you would understand.
That's right. And that's what's on my desk. I found that sign on my desk when I walked in Sunday. And I will tell you, my staff, the guys and our secretarial staff are A+. I couldn't have done it without them. They have been really supportive, work hard, and honestly, I'm right towards this time in my life. There's so many things going on, and I'm just standing there watching it because, I'm not having to micromanage. They're just doing a wonderful job.
All right, another text. It says, our family was the first funeral and the first wedding at Memorial. Brother Jack's funerals are as sweet and as precious as his weddings. We love him and Lynn so much. From Susie Nettles.
Yep, that was when I was at Memorial Baptist. A great group of people there and a great ministry there.
Okay, Bob?
I'm sure as you've done a lot of sermons, do people still look, how do you...
Do what now?
The sermons. How do you determine how long the sermons are? That's the one thing people...
how long they going to be?
That's the one thing people worry about.
Some say they're too long.
Do you time them before you do it? Or
let me just say this.
Because the former joke in Wayne County was, everybody was rushing to get out so they could get to civils.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So we went to 10:30. That gave me a little bit more freedom, so I could preach a little longer. But anyway, I am time conscious. Back in the day when I first started, the longer you preached, it seemed like it was a badge of honor. Then I realized it wasn't a badge of honor. It was a disaster because people wouldn't come back. So people, and my phone is blowing up. I don't know what people are trying to say to me right now.
Well, they can't. Yeah, he's talking on the air, folks. Wait till he gets
that's right, exactly. So anyway, I learned. We try to do within 35 minutes. We'll start at 10:30, and at 15 till 12, with everything said and done, we're out the door. So
okay. Another text here says, Congratulations to one of the finest men I know. Congratulations on your retirement, from Bruce Harris.
Yep. And Bruce is one of those guys from, from another church that we have had some friendship and some, just great encouragement to me.
Okay.
Well, like I said, we're just glad you're here. We just wanted to thank you. They said I had Mike in after his 50 year night. Sometimes you have to just say thank you for your service. And it's a great opportunity to have you in here and just, from everybody in Wayne County, thank you for everything you've done over the many years. And like I said, everybody's praying. And, like I said, only God knows what the time frame is. So everybody continues to pray. And the power of prayer, I tell people all the time, power of prayer is a powerful thing.
Oh, yes, it is. And I need to say to the community, too, because when dealing with cancer, not only the church and other churches, but the community has rallied around my family and prayed financially. I cannot tell you just how much they have blessed me. And, and I'm just going to say this, up until this point, between miracles at hospitals and other things, I don't owe anybody anything. And that's a miracle.
Another one here is kind of lighthearted. Brother Jack, we need one more mission trip to the DR to see if we can find Mrs. Lynn's pet lizard.
Yeah, Lynn's scared of lizards, and that's the story we don't have time for. I can come back another day and tell you all the fun things that have happened in my ministry. There's some hilarious things about pastoring, but anyway, and you can say it on the air too, but anyway. But I am blessed by wonderful county people and staff and church and state, and it's just been a great time. And you know what? I got greater things ahead of me, and Omaha Baptist Church has greater things ahead for itself, too. It's not going to die because I'm leaving. It's going to flourish.
And I'm sure July 25th will be a packed house. So that's going to be your final
Sunday.
That'll
be my final Sunday, yes, sir.
Okay.
But I just want to let people know that.
Well, Pastor, appreciate you coming in.
Thank you.
Ben, thanks for coming in, and we wish you the best, Jack.
Thank you very much, and God bless y'all.
All right. Pastor Jack Lee, our special guest here on the world-famous Butch and Bob Show, right here on WIFO 105.5 FM in Jessup. It's brought to you by First Southern Bank, by Damon's Famous Fingers and Wings, Murphy Builder Supply, and O'Quinn & Associates Country Financial.